Welcome to the Top Corner Podcast. This is our fourth or third episode.
Third episode.
Third episode. I was ahead of myself. Today, co-host is Julian, and I am Jordan. We are excited today again. We have a good show for y'all. So, interesting this week matchup or this weekend matchups all over the world. What was your highlight?
I think obviously the biggest match overall was definitely Arsenal Manchester United. In terms of early stakes in the seasons, and an interesting outcome to a very interesting matchup. The scoreline obviously didn't reflect the game itself, but that's always interesting when that does happen. 3-1 sounds more decisive than what the game actually was, and then you can even get into the debate of whether Arsenal deserved all 3 points, which most people seem to think that they got lucky in that.
Well, we will see.
Yep.
Another thing is we had the Champions League draw.
Absolutely.
We had the various groups, and some groups are more exciting than others, and some are more terrifying.
Well, and it's funny. Usually, the group stage from hell, because there's always one. There's always one and it's usually three. Like 3 teams, 3 of the 4 teams are very much expected to move on. This is a rare instance where all 4 teams in that respective group pose some sort of problem for the other teams, and that would be Group F.
Yeah.
Because usually, and it's like, and people could obviously make the argument that Newcastle is the the weak team, the throwaway team, right? But usually, it's like if we were to take Newcastle out, it would be like PSG, Borussia Dortmund, AC Milan, and Dynamo Kiev.
That's a tough one.
You know what I mean? But it's like for some reason, like Dynamo Kiev's out, Newcastle is in, and I don't think that Newcastle are on that same level of Dynamo Kiev. I think that they are a better squad than that, but they are obviously still the weaker of those other 3 teams in their group. But let's start at the top, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to Group A. We've got Bayern Munich, we've got Manchester United, Copenhagen, and Galatasaray.
I can call it now.
Yep.
Bayern Munich in, but I wanna believe that Man United will go through, but you never know.
I mean, United. So if
it's crazy.
If other teams in the group were to go up to second, who do you think is going to take points from United? Would it be Copenhagen or would it be Galatasaray?
Ooh, Galatasaray for sure.
Yeah,
Galatasaray. Yeah, I can see Bayern Munich and Galatasaray going through.
Yeah.
If Man United don't succeed, but again, you have upsets and you have surprises. So Copenhagen can also prove me otherwise.
Yeah. When
you look at Group B, I think for me it's obvious. I can see Sevilla and Arsenal going through.
yeah, you can see that, and it's kind of interesting because PSV Eindhoven and Arsenal were in the same group in the Europa League last season.
Yes.
And those were always interesting matchups. Arsenal should move on. Arsenal should probably move on in the first seed.
Mm-hmm.
With Sevilla, especially with big boy Sergio Ramos in the squad, right?
Yeah.
No matter where he goes, he will always have Champions League play until he retires, and then they'll still bring him in random squads, I'm sure. I would imagine it's something like, well, then who do you think would finish over, under Arsenal and Sevilla, like Eindhoven or Linz? Who do you think is getting that Europa spot?
Ooh, that's a tricky one. Linz is PSV is usually good in international matchups. I don't know about Linz, but I can see PSV getting.
PSV have more experience in Europe anyway, though.
Yes,
and you have to think that matters to a certain degree. And that's what would, I think, probably affect Arsenal the most.
Yeah,
they don't have as much European experience over the last 5 years or so as they are accustomed to, as they are expected to have as well.
Well, probably that will come into play after they go through the first round. So when they start facing these big teams and where experience and a history of being playing at that level in the European matchups or competitions will come into play.
Well, because there's even a difference between just like having European success and then just having European experience. I mean, Arsenal, they've never claimed any European titles, but they are used to being in Europe to a certain degree, usually at the Champions League stage.
That is true.
And that, that does matter more than a team that's never been there. But also on the flip side of that, and then we'll move on, this Arsenal side in particular,
Yeah,
they're not used to European experience.
that is true.
So that's how long
most
it's
of
been
them-
since Arsenal's
yeah.
been in the Champions League. I mean, Europa League is one thing, Champions League is another. No one in the side was with the squad the last time that they competed in the Champions League. So that's going to be a big test. That's going to be a big deal. And they can either really turn on the gas
Yeah,
and really hit hard, or it could prove to be too much for them. And unbiasedly speaking, I do think that they're more likely to turn it on
ooh,
than to hide, I think.
Yeah.
But again, it all depends on certain people that are selected in the squad. But, they sort of broke in this new era last season,
Yeah.
understanding what it means to compete at the top. But anyway, I think that's one of the most interesting teams in the Champions League this year, and that's kind of why I took the extra time for that. But let's move on to Group C.
yeah. Napoli, Real Madrid, Braga, Union Berlin. I feel like Real Madrid is having it. Well, I don't want to say easy because Napoli will be a
Yeah.
difficult matchup for them.
I would see them getting a draw
Yeah.
against Napoli
Well,
in one of the two
Okay.
matchups.
Yeah, I can see that. Because if you play a good defense on Real Madrid, although they might score, but it will be difficult just because they can create as much as opportunity, but they cannot. Their conversion rate is really low. So I could get behind that. A draw, Napoli versus Real Madrid. Yeah,
Well, you got to think as well, the Napoli front line versus
Yeah.
the current Madrid back line. How is Carvajal going to deal with Kvaratskhelia?
yeah.
How are Alaba, who is not playing great at the moment, and Rudiger, how are they going to cope with Osimhen?
Mm-hmm.
These are very everyone that I just mentioned on the Real Madrid side
Yeah.
is past
Yeah.
their physical prime. They're mentally they're still who they've
Good,
always been.
yeah.
But
But don't you think the Champions League? This is most of them. This is your area of expertise.
yeah. I mean, but and then it comes down to, okay, I mean, great. You've been there before, but
yeah.
good luck with Kvaratskhelia
That's
and
true.
Osimhen with their pace. I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible. Would I be surprised if they kept that that quick firing side of Napoli scoreless? I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be equally surprised if they succeed or fail. Because the experience is one thing and then the physical prowess is the other.
Right.
And David Alaba is no longer the left fullback.
Yeah.
If he was, then I would say, yeah, maybe he could. I mean, 4 years ago, yeah, he could have kept up with Kvaratskhelia pace. And yeah, if he was still a center back 4 years ago, he probably could have kept Osimhen at least, maybe not entirely in his pocket, but
You
mostly.
have the gatekeeper Rudiger, so
Say what?
you have the gatekeeper Rudiger,
Yeah.
so he might be.
But we saw in this
better.
last matchup, though, I mean, one small misstep from Alaba,
Yeah,
and then
that is true.
Rudiger's all over the floor trying to cover up the mistakes, and it's like even he's not perfect anymore. And I have a lot of respect for both those guys. They both have to be playing well
Yeah,
for the other one to play well. If one of them has an off night, it does immediately affect the other. Whereas you could have made the argument, especially for like a Liverpool, where like Van Dijk was on fire so much that it didn't matter if Matip or Joe Gomez had a bad game, he was able to cover those slots. Neither of the Real Madrid center backs are able to really do that anymore. They both kind of have to be
yeah.
as perfect as possible for the other one to stand a chance as well.
My thing would be if Napoli can actually hold down their own when it's gonna come to attack, because now this guy will, depending on what flank it comes from, and I think the most attacking side is the right side. So I'm interested to see this
Yeah.
matchup and see how
And
that would be.
even without Vinicius Jr.,
Yeah,
Romani does not look the same. Like you can tell that Napoli are missing Kim and Jay.
yeah,
They really should have tried to keep him. Like I understand that Napoli are flirting between being a buying and selling club.
yeah.
Like they've just now decided that like when you win a season title for the first time in 30 years, you're in a new spotlight.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a bit like, and I think we had this conversation on last episode. When do you decide to sell? Like, what's wrong with a selling club not selling for 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons, and really getting together a good squad to make a good run, and then sell and rebuild? I feel like they shouldn't have gotten rid of Kim Min-jae, even for the money that they gave him, that they got for him, because I mean they dropped points to Lazio, who are not a bad side. They're always in the top 6, top 7 in Serie A. But the way that they were pulled apart defensively, Kim Min-jae would not have allowed for that to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's a big mistake. And so even if Rodrigo's not the best finisher, do you want an out-of-form Romani and this Juan Jesus who was a backup? You know what I mean? Like, they've obviously not filled that gap defensively. I don't, even if Rodrigo's not the best finisher at the moment,
Yeah.
I don't want to see that current Napoli side have to cope with it.
That is true.
You know?
Which, like I said, that's going to be an interesting matchup to see. I think Union Berlin, and I know you like them, and Braga are just there for, like I call it, entertainment.
Yeah. Well, and Union Berlin also, they're probably crashing down from their honeymoon. I mean, they did well in the league last year. They did well in the Europa League last year. Getting absolutely demolished by Leipzig 3-0.
Yeah.
Not a good way to really solidify yourself to be in that top 4, that top 5 of the Bundesliga. So they might have a quick exit here. I would like to see them drop down to Europa League and compete there again. Because like I said, because last year they did beat Ajax.
Yeah.
They did eliminate Ajax from the Europa League. So they seemed to have had what it took to a certain point for the Europa League competition.
Another group would be Group D: Benfica, Inter Milan, Salzburg, Real Sociedad.
That's pretty much, that's pretty obvious as well, I think.
Yeah, but it looks like Real Sociedad was doing good in the league right now, in La Liga. So I'll be interested to see. I don't know. I know Inter Milan for sure will go through.
Yeah.
I wanted to think Benfica, but Benfica, Salzburg, Real Sociedad, it's just lingering there. It's just
But then you think about the history of the clubs as well, and not just like older times, but I mean, like Benfica, the reason that they sell most of their players for top dollar is because they get the platform in the Champions League group stage. They usually leave around the round of 16. They don't stay that much longer, but a lot of their players get sold based on how they perform in the Champions League and moving out of the group stage. So you can't really say the same for Sociedad, and you definitely can't say the same thing for Salzburg. So I would say, personally, Benfica move on in the second place.
And then we have Group E: Atletico Madrid, Feyenoord, Lazio, Celtic. Atletico Madrid definitely go to.
Let's spend very little time on this group. Yeah, I would say Atletico, and then I would say probably Feyenoord will move on. Lazio will go down to Europa and act like they have a chance, but they won't.
Group F is the most. I think this is the most ridiculous group.
Oh, it's insane. This one is what, like, if someone were to say these draws are rigged, this is one of those groups where you're like, yeah, maybe it is. I don't know.
Well, you have Paris, Dortmund, Milan, Newcastle. And I want to say, like, we talked about it, Paris is going through. I don't care whoever is saying what.
Sorry, Newcastle. It's gone. It's not happening this year.
It's going to be given a lot of points.
You tried. They might not be back. They might not place top 4 this season as well.
Yeah, it looks like not playing that. Yeah.
Well, but I stand by it, though. They've had an awful schedule.
Yeah.
Liverpool, Chelsea.
Yeah, that's true.
Brighton.
But again, is it really awful when
and Villa
at the end of the day you gotta, unless you wanna make them, unless at the beginning of the season they wanna settle in their game right, they wanna get their mindset right, they wanna playing a few games might get them to the point where now they actually know where they are as a team.
Yeah.
Playing big guys like that at the beginning of your season, it doesn't make it easy for you.
Yeah, no, and I'm not saying that it's like, that it's unfair or it shouldn't have happened, but think about it this way as well. I mean, Brighton are in that same area of, like, they are outside of the big 6, but they are definitely still competing for European slots. Aston Villa's the same way. Are they getting the same treatment? I'm not saying it's rigged, but I'm also saying it's like there is a bit of an asterisk, a bit of a caveat to this season, because those first 4 games for Newcastle it's unfair in a cosmic sense, not a legitimate cheating or rigging sense, and then they get slapped in this group stage. They've had an awful start to the season because of the obstacles set in front of them. They just cannot catch a break in the season competition formats.
I think the gods of football are mad at them.
That is what it is. It truly does feel cosmic. You've got to think Milan holds on to the 3rd place slot, but also Dortmund are making the perfect example of what it means to draw in every match that you play. What is it? I think of their 3 matches, don't they have 1 win and 2 draws?
Yep,
and they're always. I feel like I've seen 2 draws, like conceding goals and not being able to really bridge the gap, and definitely still missing Bellingham.
And I will tell you what, Paris' new attacking line, is different. I think these guys are making it. I mean, we haven't seen the test yet, but like I said, we're gonna talk about them.
It's amazing what they can do when Mbappe is happy. I'll be saying that all season.
That's why you pay the big bucks.
I want 24-hour wellness check on Kylian Mbappe. Like I want his personal phone number so I can call him every 35 minutes and say, "Hey, how are you doing? Are you happy today?"
Definitely. When he's happy, he's scoring.
Yeah, when he's happy, he's smiling his ass off, and he doesn't want to leave his club, and he's fine turning down $100 million in loyalty fees.
And he plays well. Yeah. So Group G, we got Man City, Leipzig. This one is kind of crazy. It's for I guess this one is in Ukraine.
Red Star Belgrade. That is.
I couldn't say that name. Croatia. Wow.
Hold on.
And you get young boys.
Embarrassing. Hold on, we got
which one?
Oh, they're they're Serbian.
Serbian.
Yeah. Well, they won't stay long.
No, I think young boys and them they're going. Yeah, they're not going to. Man City and Leipzig should go to.
Yeah, it's pretty much in that order. Yeah.
But it's so now I would have said this was rigged, right? Because you got Man City in Group G with I don't want to say nobodies, but they are not on Man City's level.
Yeah.
This is just a cruise control for Man City.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Well, and that shows the difference in quality between the Premier League and the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Where, because Leipzig is one of their top sides historically and currently, and for them to be in a group with Man City and us, again, not being disrespectful, it is what it is. There is a degree of talent in the world in all forms, not just sports. It's in the arts, it's in business, it's in all sorts of things.
That is true.
That one of your top contending German sides is just nothing compared to Manchester City.
That is true.
But also, it's not even that it's just English versus German. Although the separation of quality is clear, it's not an insult to say that. But I mean, Manchester City is a massively a massively talented side that even in England, you just can't really.
Man City can just overwhelm them with the play, not even trying to run any tactics on them. They will absolutely demolish each and every single team in that group.
A De Bruyne-less, a Gundogan-less. That sounds weird to say. And really introducing new players, a new style. They're playing a completely different style because they have to, and it's working. They're not as convincing as they were, but they are undefeated.
That is true.
I don't see them dropping many points anytime soon. I see them maybe getting a draw away from home soon. I don't see them taking a big loss, especially at home soon, even against a Big Six side. So I really don't see them getting much trouble from Leipzig. And unfortunately, Red Star Belgrade and Young Boys, it's not happening.
Yeah. We have our last group, Group H: Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar, and Antwerp. Barcelona and Porto going through.
Yeah, in that order.
Yeah. That's
I see it working. Like on the page right now. I see it shaking down exactly as it is right now.
Yeah.
Barcelona, Porto, Shakhtar, Antwerp.
Oh, well, I'm really excited for the Champions League to start. I think it starts in the next 2 weeks. I want to say so.
Yep.
And let's see. What team would you say will be the upsetting team, the little team that comes in and nobody expects much from them, and they just I want to see an Ajax of 2018.
Yeah.
I want to see a Dortmund of 2014. Yeah. What team do you think will be that team?
Truly, I do think that because they've proven it domestically, Leipzig is one of those.
Leipzig?
I mean, they've got a good front. They are having decisive victories.
Yeah.
I think I think that they could really impress some people, and I do think that Leipzig's always kind of like, I guess, understatedly pacey.
Yeah.
They've always got somebody up top with a lot of speed behind them. And you're not expecting to really have to cope with that with a lot of German sides. But yeah, I think that Leipzig could go into the quarterfinals. And I think that for a side like that to get out of the round of 16, that would be I guess an upset enough, right? Because we would talk about and you said Ajax 2018, also that same year Atalanta 2018.
2018. Yeah.
Getting to the quarterfinals and losing is what you would expect to be a standout performance for a side like that, right?
That makes sense. Well, let's move on to our first game of the week. I mean, I watched this game. Did I? I watched no, actually I watched City Fulham, but I watched
we have to
Arsenal.
watch so many games every week.
Yeah, I watched Arsenal, Man United. I didn't finish City Fulham because I was pissed off because I thought it started well, then it was 3-1, then 4-1. I was like, all right, I'm out. I watched Arsenal actually live, and I thought, so Man United has, first of all, they have a communication problem. I think they have a big communication problem because when you watch how they play, everybody's everywhere. Sometimes you have two people attempting to get the ball, and just that disconnect from the middle, from the attacking line to the defensive, to the middle line.
They're very segmented.
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to create a fluidity between the back, the middle, and the front.
Yeah,
as they play.
And I think so far in that game, Dalot,
he looked great.
He looked great, and a lot of people are trying to blame Wan-Bissaka. I'm telling you, Wan-Bissaka has improved a lot. His dribbling skills and everything.
He did not have his best game.
Yeah,
he actually had far from his best game, but Dalot kept him very much muted because even when he did have the chances, because he did have a couple of chances.
Yeah,
I would say he probably had 1/3 of the chances that he normally has. So Dalot kept him to that. He still did not make the most of his opportunities that he did have. But that's also what happens when Saka, and he's a world-class player, I'm not saying that, but last season was really when that developed.
Yeah.
You're going to see dips in form. You're always going to see that. He looked a little bit more like Saka from 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
Which, again, not a bad player, hard worker, just not the best finisher.
Which is crazy. I think he was the man of the match, was he not? But the one thing
Declan Rice, he worked his fucking ass off. Not even just because he scored that goal. He worked his ass off for everyone else. He basically played 2 spots because Havertz didn't play a spot.
Yeah. Well, I think Saka, Dalot on that
was he really man of the match? Sorry,
yeah, I think so.
I'm gonna have to double check that. I don't see how that would be possible. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying
me too. I think
whoever gave him that little.
Well, he played. Whatever. He covered a lot of space. He made a lot of good runs and created spaces and chances. The thing is, when he was on that left side, Dalot kept him on lock. So I think, but overall, if you watch the game, I think United probably they're getting armored, right? I think that might help them.
Yeah.
So
who comes out? Eriksen comes out.
Because Casemiro has a problem of getting back, right? But Amrabat can cover for him while he's up, and if he plays a little bit up, or just further in the middle third, he can be creating chances or trying to do a better job at linking up because they don't really have a good 8 or that person that will really be orchestrating the game for them. Of who's their attacking line?
Who's their distribution manager? Who is dictating that? Because it used to be Fernandes. Fernandes played more as an 8. Now he's playing more as a 10.
Yeah.
I don't see that working at all. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm watching different games than everybody else.
And what the hell Martial is still in this team? He did not know what the hell was happening. He was just there.
Based on the performance that Højlund had in that short amount of time, I don't expect to see Martial again. I don't, because he made more of an impact in the short amount of time that he was there for than Martial did all game.
That is very true.
And it looks like Lisandro Martinez will be out for some time. He's not injury prone, but he is definitely he has a little knock in him at all times, possibly. Back to Saka really fast. I just want to pin him next to Martinelli.
Yeah,
because Martinelli this season especially has looked like more of a menace than Saka.
Yeah.
Whether or not he has the finishing is always there. Every time he takes the ball down the left wing, he looks dangerous. And both of them, the reason that I kind of pair them both together is because at the end of a match, whether they have their best performance or not, there is no questioning whether or not they worked as hard as they could.
Yeah.
Especially Martinelli. Every single time that he has the ball, one, his acceleration is unlike any other. I think he might not be the fastest person in Europe, but I think within a 5 to 10 yard burst, he might be. You know what I mean? You have guys like Mbappe. You have guys like maybe not anymore, but like Walker from 4 or 5 years ago. That would be faster. But if you're looking at who can clear 10 yards quicker, I think Martinelli might be one of the best in the world in that. And he always looks. Like I said, he always looks dangerous on the ball.
Another thing you could see Odegaard, how United as a team. Why would you not mark Odegaard when he's playing in that? So outside the box, just around there in the away third, that's his area of that's his comfort zone. So you let him sit there, no marking, and this guy keeps shooting and dribbling all your defenders and all the team, and there's nobody marking him. Yeah. So that's where, if you look at the first goal, Martinelli gives an assist to Odegaard, and he just straight up, nobody was on him.
Great little ball in too, though. Like probably again, and you're probably gonna get used to me saying this, and you probably won't always agree with me, but like if I oftentimes think that the assist is more impressive than the goal.
Yeah,
I mean, great shot from Odegaard, but like that little angled ball back in from Martinelli through the legs.
Yeah,
that was to me a better pass than it was a goal. But yeah, I think you can even see Martinez like pointing and shouting at Eriksen because Eriksen's so pinched back.
Yeah.
You need to be up there. You need to be closing this distance on him.
Zinchenko did a great job with Anthony on that. So every time Anthony had the ball receiving in the middle or away third, Zinchenko closed the space so fast he didn't know what happened. And I think Anthony was awful, and he's been playing awful.
Yeah.
And if you look at the right side, they want to pin on Wan-Bissaka, but the truth is that Wan-Bissaka cannot cover for Anthony's errors. It becomes difficult on him.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I didn't like, and they have to figure a way how they can play this. Another thing is building from the back. It's so difficult to build from the back when you have teams that they don't understand the dynamic, how to be dynamic. You can't just build from the back and stay in the back.
Yeah.
So it becomes difficult,
especially when your back line is not the most limber.
Yeah,
Wan-Bissaka's short passes are usually atrocious. And again, he works hard. He did not have a great game. He did not have as bad of a game as he has had before in the past, obviously. I do think that one of their biggest problems is playing Bruno Fernandes up too high.
Yeah,
definitely.
That is true.
And I think that Garnacho needs to start. I think that, look, you get Martial out.
Yeah.
He's gone completely.
Forever.
And you move Fernandes back to an 8 so that he can distribute the ball more. But you look at that build up that happened with that offside goal from Garnacho. That was all Garnacho and Højlund.
Yes.
So you need to have Garnacho and Højlund in the 10 and the 9s. I don't know who you would put where, but their ability to pass in their short ranges, their little triangles, that looked really good. So you've got a good 3 of Rashford, Højlund, and Garnacho.
Yes.
How you put them, I don't know.
Yeah. I will actually play. Either you play, that's gonna be difficult.
Rashford's better on the left side, isn't he?
And I said that last time. Yeah. Right? That's his side of comfort. And like I said, they just need someone that would be linking the ball because these guys they're not maestros. They need someone to orchestrate everything, and I think playing Casemiro a little bit higher might help with that. If you have
pulling Garnacho back, Fernandes back a little bit, and letting them work more. They looked so fragmented and broken away. It was hard for them to get.
You can do a 4-3-3 with that formation, or you can decide to do it however you want.
There's a good side in there. There's a good squad in there. Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire are not in it though.
Yeah, no, they should never get in a game ever, in a match ever.
They shouldn't have signed Evans again. And I've heard people talk about it, so it's nothing new. But there was no one at the youth academy.
Yeah,
no one.
That is true.
Why did you re-sign Johnny Evans? There's no one. There's not a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old.
Wow.
On the roster somewhere. I mean, the thing is, there has to be.
Yeah.
So you kind of can't tell me. I don't care if you're the head coach. I don't care if you're the sporting director. I don't care if you're one of the academy trainers. If you tell me that there's no one there 20, like 15 years younger than Evans, I think you're lying.
Yeah.
You're not looking at your own locker room or something.
They should. And Kai Havertz was the problem. This is not Kai Havertz of Chelsea.
No, he
has lost confidence.
He didn't have any confidence at Chelsea either. It's funny. You'd think that you would gain some confidence scoring in a European final.
Yeah.
You think that you would. So here's the thing. He is counterproductive for the play style.
Yes.
He holds up play. Because the whole thing about Arsenal is being quick, being very forward-minded, being very aggressive, high presses, and then quick for counters, and like using your pace to get up the pitch.
Yeah.
He hides behind defenders. Like I said, like he hides intentionally so that passing lanes are not open for him.
He don't want the ball.
He does not want the ball. And I told you this last time as well, and this will not be another because I can't do this every week.
Yeah.
I can't have this conversation every single week. But he either, as soon as he gets the ball, he looks immediately where to give it away to.
That is true.
And then when you need, there are so many times I see him hide behind the defender instead of like channeling back to open up a passing lane. And he's not clever when he does it, but I see what he thinks he's trying to do. He's trying to hide behind the defender so as to stay be ready to receive the ball behind the back line. It looks like he's trying to play the onside, waiting for a little through ball into space.
Yes.
But one, it never comes. And he never actually, it's always good to see a forward right on the line. And even if the pass doesn't go to him, he runs. Because one time that pass is going to come to him and he will be there for that.
Yeah.
I would see Sterling do it a lot. I see Leroy Sané do it a lot. Sadio Mane do it a lot. Where it's like, I mean, it's okay. The ball goes back and you're offside for a couple of seconds because you did make the run. You made the run even if you weren't certain the ball was coming to you because it might.
Yeah.
But he always looks like he's ready to start going, but he never actually makes the run.
Yeah.
So what are you doing? You have no passing option from him, and you know that he's not making the through run.
Yeah. So
and he whipped that shot in the 12th minute. What? Yeah, what was that?
That's a completely loss of. I don't know. I think you know what.
It was on his good foot. I don't understand what else needs to be done there.
I think Michael Arteta should play. I think he should play Thomas Partey with Declan Rice, and just kind of forget about Havertz for now until he gets to the point where he can comfortably play a match without. With all the assertiveness and the confidence he needs, because that's one thing, once you lose confidence, you are not really like he was so precipitated. He was always with the lack of confidence. Every ball he had, it was always out. I would just give it out. He wouldn't hold the ball, try to make a play, or just think about what he's gonna do. But that's one thing. So I think he's got to be.
So Partey's still for you. He starts over Vieira.
I think
in that left midfield.
Yeah, I think if you put Partey and you put Declan Rice and you put Odegaard, that's a killer midfield. I mean, if he did that,
and then
there's no telling.
Do you think that? And I do agree that. I mean, like that's the thing. I think that with Partey and Vieira in that space, you kind of can't go wrong.
No, you can't.
But the question is, do you make the smart decision and do you start Partey to then really try to tire out the midfield with clever passes? And then bring on Vieira, because it seems like he's doing really well in this super sub role.
Yeah.
Just because he's making these, because he has made an impact in both games that he's come up in.
Yeah.
But he's come on around the same time frame, and that's usually when he has the fresh legs.
That is true.
So you let Partey kind of tire them out.
Yeah.
And then bring him on. But would you just kind of accept the fact that one of your subs is always going to be Partey, like Vieira in, Partey out?
Yeah,
that would help with his health as well, because he's not injury prone, Partey, but he definitely he can still pick up injuries. So that's a good way of saying you're going to start every game, but you're probably not going to finish any games, and that's good for everyone in the long run. And honestly, at someone at that age, you're still contributing the most.
Yeah,
I think that's a good. That's a good deal.
That just because the one thing I know is the Partey's game will translate better to in the midfield, and another thing is trying to do play him as a right back and trying to do this inverting
Oh
thing.
no,
I don't think it
that won't
works.
happen
So,
again.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it was a very relieving thing. Not even saying it like as a fan, but you just because when you see something that's not working,
it's not working.
you really want the manager to see it quickly. And it was only 2 games that he really tried to experiment with the 3-man back.
Yeah.
But it was not working at all.
It's not that.
And so
It's not a thing. It's not that.
Gabriel was back in. It made a huge difference. Gabriel had a pretty good game.
Yeah.
You can tell that they need him perhaps even more than a 4-man back. Because Zinchenko was still making runs in the midfield. He was still kind of doing the same thing. But you have to think, like, let's say that they even did run a 3-man back still. Gabriel would have to be a part of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like he kind of showed that he and Saliba in the defense, regardless of the formation that you're playing, has to take place.
That would have been I don't know. I feel like the 3-man back. No, I think Arsenal has to stick with what they're doing now.
Oh, 100%. I'm just saying that that. I think it showed how important Gabriel was because because he still made Zinchenko still made runs into the midfield, but not as much as the last couple of games.
Yeah.
He was still doing the inverted midfielder role, but he was still back more for safety.
Yes,
and you still had the Gabriel Saliba duo, which, like I said, 4-man back is probably just as important, but I do think that we saw how important Gabriel is to the equation, regardless of the formation, regardless of who presses into the midfield from the back and how often they do it. You need another center back within that equation somewhere. And Jakub Kiwior is very good.
My thing is
he's just not Gabriel, though, I don't think. And I think Gabriel's underrated. I think that Gabriel's been underrated for years, but really the last season, he has been criminally underrated.
Well, that's why I'm trying to find out why Gabriel has such a. I mean, last season Gabriel was different, and I don't know why either he cannot get there or it's because he doesn't have enough playing time.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a thing to figure out. To be honest,
I think that he was always their best center back.
Yes.
Before Saliba, he was always their best. That wasn't saying much because they didn't have a good back line. But having Saliba in the squad immediately improved those around him, and it improved Gabriel the most.
Okay.
Gabriel is a good number 2. You know what I mean? Like Saliba is your defensive captain.
Yeah.
Gabriel was being asked to take that spot before Saliba got there, and he's not that kind of player. That said, once someone else is there to take charge and dictate how the ball is being distributed from the back, then Gabriel really shines. He's just not that player. But there, very few players are that. There have been world-class players that are just not the defensive captain, and that's okay.
That is true. Well, in Syria, we had Inter Milan versus Fiorentina. Did you watch the game? I like the game per se. Man, Inter Milan has a great team. Thuram is a beast.
Yeah, he's incredible.
I like the guy. I like how he plays. Basically,
we were talking. Yeah, we were talking a while back.
Yeah,
he's like a very nimble Lukaku.
Yeah,
that's what you said.
Yeah,
I thought that he kind of reminded me of who did I say that he reminded me of?
I don't remember actually.
It doesn't matter. But he's got some wicked pace. Yeah. Oh, I said he looked like a less agile, and by agile I mean skill with the ball under his feet. He had pace like Osimhen, the way that he was just ripping past center backs like they were not even really there, accepting the fact that I don't need to put the ball between your legs. I just need to, if I get 3 or 4 good strides, you're not getting the same kind of strides that I am. Like I'm getting past you on the outside. He looked like a bit more of a less of a techer.
Okay.
Osimhen.
The one thing I like about him, he understands the way of attacking. Being a big attacker like him, being a big striker, and he understands how to use his body to his advantage.
How tall is he?
I think he's 6'0", so he's 6 feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not crazy tall, but it's also, I mean, you see a lot of guys that are 5'8", 5'9", but yeah, I mean, it's good. He's got a long stride.
He's got a long stride, and he plays a little bit like Haaland, but the difference is that Haaland is more surgical, if you want to say. But that I really like the way he plays, and he always try to look for the better um, play. So if he's making a pass or he's just running with the ball. And Martinez is also a great player. He was the man of the game.
Yeah.
2 goals. I mean, this guy was.
And Thuram ended up with a goal and an assist as well.
Yeah.
And you always want to see your center forward get an assist. Because you want your. I mean, you put someone in the number 9 so they can score goals, obviously. But when someone is that offensively minded and they end up kind of getting in their own way in terms of passing and productivity,
yes,
it can become counterproductive for the entire squad. So to see someone that does, Harry Kane's another good example of that. Plenty of goals in him, but also the ability to hold up play and redistribute the ball when a forward run is shut down, instead of just blazing through with the ball, making an unconvincing shot because you're the frontmost person.
Yes.
Instead of that, stopping it down, letting everybody catch up, and basically you're not recycling the ball, but you are getting a second chance on that run that did fall through. You're not accepting failure on that first run.
And that's why I think Inter Milan will be really threatening in the Champions League, because I like the squad. And I think I've seen this formation twice. I think it's with Inter Milan and either Roma. Who did Roma play?
Roma played AC Milan this weekend.
I think probably
this past weekend.
Yeah, I think it might be Inter Milan and Milan, where they do it 3-5-2.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
it's just everything in the midfield.
Everything
shuts down.
And everything. And in the case where you guys are playing in my third, I'm building a block.
Yeah.
So that's very Mourinho stylish.
I need to kind of get over the fact that I find Inter Milan so boring.
Yeah.
I don't watch them that much, but since we're doing this together now, I'm probably going to start watching more Inter Milan.
Yeah, me too. But the one thing I like, so the attacking, they attacked most from the left and the right side was close to, actually was same, 36%. So that just tells you that there's not a preferred line, or I would say there's not a preferred left or right way to attack, because if you look at Arsenal, they attack mostly from the right, and that's Saka's lane. So this one, it don't matter what flank they pick, so they're gonna attack. And I like Dumfries, and the reason why I like him is the fact that this dude can run, and before you realize he's back in his defense, and that he was the main guy who destroyed the US when they played in the World Cup. So that's one thing. So
I was watching that game with some American family that aren't used to watching the sport.
Yeah.
And so they're kind of just like, why are they so good? And I'm like, that's the thing. They're not even that good. Like they had a really good game against us for sure, but it's like they're actually it was I had to kind of explain to them, well, you see, the U.S. national team is one. You just have to accept that we're not the best.
Yeah.
like once you accept that, you start to see everyone else in an accurate light.
That is true. Well, I watched that game too with a lot of I think it was Plaza Mariachi, and I mean a lot of people were like, "Oh, we should have won." I was like, I don't know about that.
No. Yeah, that was like expecting the win and thinking that you've been slighted or cheated if you didn't get that win. And it's like, look, I wasn't expecting that in scoreline, but like, it's the Netherlands, man. You're not getting out of that. You're just not getting out of that usually.
That is true.
Western sides, like, and very Western. I don't mean Western European when I say that, but
yeah,
the American sides, and even like Mexico, like you're not getting past Netherlands. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Another game from the French, which is, I think this is my best attacking line so far. Paris Saint-Germain, Lyon.
Whatever.
I mean, you got Mbappe on the left. You have Asensio.
Yeah.
Then you have Dembele.
Yeah.
Then, oh man, this is just
Asensio
powerful.
Okay. He looked good.
He looked great.
Yeah.
1 assist, 1 goal. Mbappe 2 goals, and if Mbappe is on that side, you really don't have to worry. If he's happy, that's it. If he's happy, that's it. You don't need a lot.
If he's happy.
And you had
the
Hernandez.
Question is, when's he happy?
I think right now he's really happy. I can see him smiling, especially when he scores all these goals. You have Hernandez, you have Marquinhos. So the one thing I'm still skeptical, or not really skeptical. The one thing I haven't seen is the proof of the defensive line. How the defense is good. How good is the defense?
You did have proof of their goalkeeper, though. He made several. I think he made.
No, Donnarumma has been fine.
No, no. I'm saying like it's like, you're unconvinced with the back line. It's like because you're unconvinced with the back line, I'm convinced of the goalkeeper.
Yeah, okay.
He's done well. He had 3 or 4. Like, look, man, 4-1. That sounds very decisive, and I'm not saying that it wasn't. It wasn't always going to be PSG. Donnarumma had 3 massive saves.
That is true.
You could have potentially been looking at a 4-3 shootout, and that's not as impressive, is it? That's against Lyon. So if you think that back line is going to be able to do much, I think they need to start looking for a remedy for Marquinhos.
Yes.
He was a great player. I'm not saying he's still not a very good player. You need to start accepting that he's not definitely won't be there in 2 years.
That is true. And the reason why the attacks were so deadly and always with the probability of scoring, it's because when they start attacking or counterattacks, they go to a 3-2-5, where you have Hakimi, because Hakimi was always up. At some point, you would think this guy, he's actually a winger, which I think he should be. So, and that's where they were really deadly. But the thing about it left a dead left wing space in their home third. So I think Marquinhos should go to that place and try to cover the space, because Cherki on Lyon was always there, and that's where he was much more dangerous. Yeah, because he understood that left side was always open.
The goals were very interesting as well. And again, you look at a score line and you think a certain thing based on the number that you're looking at.
Yeah.
The Hakimi goal, great. I mean, great cross from Dembele to Mbappe. It gets blocked.
Yeah.
Sloppily, and then Hakimi strikes in the recycled ball. Great. Good goal, good cleanup. You're not going to get that opportunity against other good squads in Europe. Yeah. So it's like, my biggest takeaway from the game was, it was a decisive victory. They play a very silky style when things go their way.
Yeah.
When things don't go their way, they can't do half the things that you see that are impressive. And they always look impressive against sides that are much below their standard.
Yeah.
And then the other two, you look at the Mbappe, they kept just blitzing through the exact same channel. It was the channel between the right center back and the right back.
That is true.
And both Asensio's goal and Mbappe's other goal, they were identical. They're the exact same space, the exact same threaded ball. You're not getting that opportunity once, let alone twice, against most top European sides. You're just not getting those.
Yeah.
All those goals I can see not going through a Bayern Munich, perhaps even through if Kim Min-jae still was with Napoli, I could see that not working for them. You know what I mean? Like I can just see these things not playing out against other teams in European competitions. So it's like it's always great to play well in your domestic league.
Yeah.
But
it's gonna be difficult.
I didn't see anything that they did in this 4-1 beatdown that I believe would be as convincing.
Yeah.
Against the other squads, and even PSG's management have said it themselves on behalf of because the French league itself is a good league globally speaking.
Yeah.
In the world, it's a great league. In Europe, it's understood to not be near the very, very top. Like there's a big drop off after the big 3 leagues, and then everything else kind of goes a little bit farther down. I just don't see them being able to do this again.
So I would agree to disagree a little bit. So my takeaway.
You like PSG though a little bit. You like Mbappe a lot.
Yeah, I guess so. But so my thing will be, I can see where when attacking it will be problematic against teams that are extremely fast when counter attack. If you have a Bayern, even Real Madrid, even City, and especially if you play someone like City, I think they might demolish, they probably will demolish PSG if PSG defensive line plays like that. The reason is because they are committing too high.
Yeah.
Especially Hakimi. Hakimi is so high, and it creates a really dead space in the left wing.
Yeah.
Or
They're
the
having
left
him
side.
run an inverted
Yeah.
place. Like he's not an inverted midfielder. He's just
He
riding
overlaps,
Up. He's
yeah.
he's essentially a solo wingback.
Yeah.
You don't have the same thing on the other side, but
And-
he is definitely leaving a lot of exposure
And
there.
the problem with him is like he does that probably 80% of the game, he's always high. And while doing that, if you watch the game shaky on the other side, on Lyons, that's the area he was attacking.
Yeah.
And if you have that against him, that extremely high attacking teams and that are extremely fast, you're going to get caught.
Yeah.
And people like Haaland, they don't miss. So
yeah. If you can get them in that forward space and you create that forward space for them,
yes.
If you run that high line, like that's what you can't do. You need guys like Haaland having to put their back to goal and having to either dump off passes or try to get a little turnaround shoot.
Yes.
And that's not what his area of expertise is. If you have a high line and one of your fullbacks halfway up the pitch,
yeah,
you're saying, Haaland, you've got 30 yards of open space.
Yeah.
Will you just take this goal from me?
That is it. And I can see, especially if you have like people like Kevin De Bruyne switching from, hey, these guys, they're PSG counter attacking in City's home third, and if City gets the ball, give it directly to KDB or even Foden running and just switching the ball directly to Haaland. Oh man, that's just too easy. So I think they got to fix that.
And
I'm
not saying that PSG won't score goals. I'm not saying that there won't be certain games that are a 3-3, a 2-3. What I'm saying is I'm not seeing them getting any of the goals that I saw against Lyon.
Yeah.
Against the top side. They can get other goals. That front three does look convincing. I'm not saying it doesn't. I don't think that they have the best midfielders to get distribution.
Yeah,
but like they don't have that. And I think that, again, with a better side, I can see, even if Liverpool's back line does not look great, I can see Szoboszlai and McAllister being able to shut down a lot of the passing that I saw open. These open ranges. It's like I was looking out into a field in Montana.
Yeah.
All that space out there, that's what Lyon was giving them. Of course they scored these goals.
That's true.
They all came up from the midfield within 2 pass links. That's it. I can see top sides closing that down. So I'm not saying that Mbappe won't score. I'm not saying that Asensio won't be able to finesse past past his prime Virgil van Dijk. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the style of play that they're used to playing due to the lack of quality from their opponents, that's not facilitating a good environment.
Yeah.
They need to kind of play a bit more rugged, getting used to the fact that, hey, all this shit that we're doing that is working in France is not going to work in Europe. They proved that. They try to play the same style. They try to act like a Napoli or a Juventus or a Manchester City or a Dortmund are Lyon, and they're not.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. They're going to score goals. They're also going to concede a lot of goals as well. They're going to concede more than they score based on the style of play that they have and the expectations that they have about their squad and their domestic league versus their squad and Europe. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, when we get to the Champions League, we're going to see.
We will, and I mean, look,
I'm excited to see PSG play Dortmund just so they can kind of test, because Dortmund is also relatively fast when executing counterattacks or just attacking.
And they're also in the toughest group as well, and we're expecting them to get out.
No, they will.
No, they will, but I think that they won't leave that group with as much confidence.
Okay.
I think that, they will concede some goals. They will look a little bit shakier. They will wish that they had an easier group. And I think that lack of morale going into that could play a part. And when they leave in the round of 16 again, which they seem to be choosing to do at will, it's like they're always out at the same exact time. And it's like, it's almost as predictable as Christmas,
Yeah, that is true. Well, in La Liga. Real Madrid still has, and in my humble opinion, they still need a striker. I'm talking about someone that will convert all the chances that they create. Because Rodrigo is good. He's going to create chances. He's going to create spaces. But guess what? He's like Sterling. Yeah. Same thing. It's like they can get 10 chances, they'll score 1.
Yeah.
So you need someone to say, hey, when I create this, I give it to you.
And it's not their fault.
You did Haaland.
Yeah. It's not their fault. This weird, like, 2-man front where you have two wingers and no striker. It's like no. Like if you're running a 2-man front, you're usually supposed to have two center forwards up there.
That is true.
And so it's like it's not even Rodrigo's fault. Just like it's not Sterling's fault if he has to play a center forward role. It's like what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
That's like putting a tight end out at wide receiver and wondering why they're not blazing past cornerbacks. It's like, well, because that's literally not what you pay this person to do. So of course they're not gonna go get a lumberjack to fix your sink. The goal, like what is this for?
That is true. The goal of Getafe at I think it was the 11th minute.
Mm-hmm.
I think it came as a result of miscommunication from the defensive players.
It was miscommunication in terms of who had the farthest back role.
Yeah.
But it was also a mistouch from Alaba, straight up.
That's what
Like someone, you probably don't want to have both of them riding up high the exact same way. But if somebody bobbles a pass like that, what are you gonna do?
And Camavinga looked great. To be honest, I think for me, I think if they had a striker, he looked better this game. Yeah. If they had a pure striker, this team will look much more dangerous than it is, because I can forget about the defense, because some teams, this is not like American football where you say, oh, defense win the game. Yeah. Some teams with an overwhelming attack, they will win,
Yeah.
So I think if they had a better a striker, it would have been easier. Because I watched the game, it was a little difficult, because I know Getafe did a good job locking them up, but also they created a lot of chances. And when Cruz came in, was it Cruz that came in? No, actually, when the second half, Cruz made it a little bit. He created more opportunity, more chances for them, and
and not just for other people, like himself.
Yeah,
he had two shots in particular that, maybe 4 years ago those go in, and they can still go in now. It's just that when he's past his best. That doesn't mean that he can't still do that kind of thing. Modric can. He still looked pretty good.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
And when him and Cruz plays, it's always really, really fascinating, because they control the pace and the flow of the game. And Cruz was the man of the match. He was the man of
He looked really good.
Yeah.
I think that they need to get used to having more Valverde.
Yeah.
He didn't come on until the 70th or 80th minute, somewhere around there.
I think he was sinking bit by bit.
He needs more time in general. Like, you need to probably start him. The fact that they started Modric was interesting.
Yeah.
And
he probably still has a gas tank.
I
like the way the coach is doing it, though.
Hell, it was really funny seeing him get pulled for a foul. It's like do you remember that? Like Modric, he cuts across the midfield.
Yeah.
And the other center midfielder is having to play catch up.
Yeah.
And actually does pull his jersey. He's like, and got a card for that. And it's like, you could probably have ran him down. Like he was never pacey. And a 37-year-old Luka Modric, like, you didn't need to draw the yellow card there. I think
that is true. And Bellingham, he looked lethal as always. And you can see the goal he scored was a result of was it on a cool shot?
Yes, it was a very scrappy deflection.
So, and that's why I said when he came in, everything changed for the better for them. Alaba still looks a little shaky, but I cannot understand Alaba, because he used to play left back, so he's so used to getting up there, and it's difficult for him to understand, because he's not a pure center back.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have these reflexes as Rudiger, because when you run on a counter attack on Real Madrid, you gonna meet Rudiger, because he's already back. He understand. Hey, when we lose, I'm supposed to get back. Alaba, it takes him a while.
Yeah.
So.
And you probably need a tiny bit more depth in your defense, don't you? Because all of a sudden, Militao, one person goes out.
Yeah.
You're telling me that a squad that has this much influence in Europe, like, you probably needed to have someone else on the bench for safety. And it's like, you don't need to have a Chelsea-sized squad where you've got 80 players, but you also don't want an ACL injury to completely tarnish your entire defense for the entire season, or have to wait and struggle until January and figure out what to do.
Yes.
But
that is true.
They looked good. Bellingham is unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. Even when I don't think it was his best game, and he still pulls out
but
late goals. It's unbelievable. It's just ridiculous.
I think they really have a good thing going on. I feel like in the next 6 months, 8 months into the cohesion and the chemistry between all the I would say all the midfielders and the attacking line will be so great that they will be able to really be dangerous for any team they play. And one thing I like, but is Carvajal. He did not commit too high like last game.
Yeah.
But it's still, I think that flying is such a weakness, because if you see Getafe attacks and you see the positional report, they attack from that. They had 47% left side attacking. Percentage.
Yeah.
So I think they should figure out a fix for that. There's gotta have something. So yeah.
You move on to Nashville. My God.
Nashville has a great problem. I'm trying to solve it.
That was a sloppy game.
It was.
So my biggest thing. Well, one, I think that it's you have to start pretending like Walker Zimmerman's not going to play.
Yeah.
He is always out for one reason or another. He misses way too much for him to hold the spot that he has. You know what I mean? And he is obviously the best defensive option. Yeah. I'm not saying that he's not. But yeah, it's like you can't prep around a player that is always out that much.
Yeah,
you just can't do it. So that's always frustrating. Godoy and McCarty in the midfield together again, because Leal just can't start for some reason. He's always hurt as well. It was so funny. It's like Nashville had 4 or 5 chances on net, and just squandered them all. And then Charlotte had 3 or 4 shots on goal right to the keeper. It's like Nashville, all their shots went wide.
Yeah.
And Charlotte was basically like, here's the ball, Joe. It's yours. Take it now. It just comes down to who's going to make the worst mistake.
Yeah. Nashville, I don't know, their defensive line makes a lot of mistakes. For some reason, I don't understand. But the thing I liked about the game is McNaughton. He was their best player on the field.
Yeah.
And he was the man of the game, man of the match.
If anything, for drawing the penalty alone.
Yeah, definitely. But I think we have to stop playing this thing where we expect to win or to at least draw with a penalty. They have to start creating some real opportunities for players to actually win the game by winning the game.
The idea of expecting a draw has been an issue with Nashville for 3 seasons now.
Yeah, which is not great.
You can just tell as the game winds down, the pace does not keep up, and that they're saying, okay, 1-1's fine, and it's like, well, yeah, yes, I think it's the season format.
Yeah,
because we have a playoff style format, so there's no. If you really want to think about it, and I'm always so torn about the playoff system in the MLS. The reason that they don't mind that much is because, hey, we're still in the playoffs.
That is true.
And it doesn't really matter. Like the 8th seed plays the 7th seed plays as many games as the 1st seed.
Yeah.
Like everybody has a bit of more of a chance. Like the only thing that you don't want to do really is be in the 8th and 9th slot because you have to play an extra wild card game. But other than that, I mean, yes, you are playing a higher seeded team, but also all of these teams just feel like they are in and around the same level of quality.
Yeah.
Like it's not surprising to see a 2nd place team lose to a 10th place team. 2-1. You're like, okay, that happens. And it can happen in the playoffs as well. And if you're all playing the same amount of games, I think that there's just not as much of an incentive to finish higher.
Yeah.
Like what you win the Supporters Shield because you get the best record.
Yeah.
But that's not the end result for the season. That's just like a secondary whatever. It's like the Community Shield. It doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
Until your team gets it, and then it's the most important thing ever in the world.
We have to stop giving set pieces and free kicks around the box.
Yeah.
They gave a lot of free kicks around the box. and they lost possession. Just with how will I say this? The way they lose possession is interesting to me because it's either a pass that's not well linked, and just sometimes there's not much aggressivity when they're not aggressive enough.
Yeah.
And that's something I wanna say change for Nashville because the last games have not been their best games.
Yeah.
And you have Inter Miami playing great. I think one player can make other player being
Three players.
Three play. Well, yeah,
Three
because
players.
they kind of run this. It's kind of like running Barcelona on 1 miles per hour. But
it's 3 former European champions.
Yeah.
We're not one.
Messi,
3.
Busquets, and Alba.
Yeah.
So you see, it's sort of like a kind of tiki-taka. I think the coach can just say, hey, you guys just go in and play. But they're doing great. Yeah. And have you heard about this thing, rumor, a meme, Messi script? So basically, they're saying that there's a script since he's been there. He's been winning all these things. So there's obviously a script. So that's what is running on the internet right now. Yeah, I know.
Whatever. No, that's what happens when you get 3 players in from Europe that they are past their prime. And I saw someone try to say that Messi wasn't past his prime.
Oh, no, he's past his prime.
Well, and it was obviously an American fan that was excited to see him in the States and wants to feel that he's still giving everything that he used to have. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with saying that because the best player ever past his prime is still one of the best players in the world.
Like, it's different from you in your prime and out of your prime than the best player in his prime and out of his prime. I mean, you see, he's just talking. I saw you watched the game. It was in Miami, LA. I mean, this dude he takes the ball. He's in the outside box and he turns around while dribbling, and nobody is. That's one thing I like about Sergio Ramos. At least he's gonna make a tackle, and you best believe me, either the ball is going or you are going.
It's probably gonna hurt. Yeah.
But they didn't even attempt. So well, I want to see Nashville play better. I don't know if their next game is a home game or away game.
Yeah,
but
I mean, and we'll cover a lot more MLS. We'll probably actually just be covering MLS next week because it's an international break.
Yeah,
which I'm fine. I'm fine to do that as well.
I
don't know if they play on Saturday or Sunday though.
Yes, I don't either.
If they play on Saturday, we'll probably just get together and watch that one.
Yes. But, definitely.
All right, you want to do some power rankings? Did you even do your power rankings, or are you just going to critique mine again?
No, I do have mine.
All right,
because I looked at.
Yeah, why don't you give yours first?
I usually go for the first top 5, and if I can do 6, 7 off top,
and then you pick apart my 6 through 10. That's
so
what you do. Yeah.
Guess what? I think Man City is the first for me this week.
Sure.
Tottenham second. Actually, Tottenham second.
Okay.
PSG third.
Oh my God.
Inter Miami fourth. Atletico Madrid fifth. This is what happened this week.
What is that?
They had the best record.
Come on.
You know what? I looked at the pass ratio. I looked at the attacking ratio. They had the best of this week.
Yeah. Whatever. I disagree. So I kind of play mine like just because they have a bad game doesn't mean that they disappear from my top 10.
Yeah,
they go down. Like a team will go down. It doesn't mean that like.
But Union Berlin should not be in your top 10.
They're not. Don't worry. But you'll see what I mean. Where like certain performances have knocked someone down, but not completely out of the list. Number 1, I have Manchester City. Come on.
Okay. I can get behind there.
2, Real Madrid. Because even if they're still undefeated. Come on.
You play Getafe and you can beat them at least 4.
It's not.
That's the thing.
A win is a win. They still. Hey, and we just talked about them for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We didn't say anything bad about them.
That is true.
Come on, it was all the good stuff. Third, based on the same principle, Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Fourth, Tottenham. Conceding quite a bit of goals, but scoring a lot. Son had a hat trick. They look great.
Okay.
Liverpool absolutely demolished Aston Villa, which Aston Villa is supposed to be competing for European placement this year. That was the whole point. They came in with a lot of hype.
Yes.
Similar, like basically outside of the big 6, you had Newcastle, Brighton, and Villa that were like we are declaring that we and analysts as well were saying these guys are going to be fighting for those Europa and Conference League slots. So
Yes.
it's important to beat them. Sixth, Arsenal.
Mm-hmm.
Still look good. 3-1, even though, again, really it should have stayed 1-1, but it didn't, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But the quality of performances, it was a 1-1, but it's still a big win against a rival club. AC Milan, 7th.
Yeah.
They still look great. They're still undefeated. And then
Yeah.
right underneath them, I don't like putting two teams, Inter Milan is right under that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But if you gotta do
Undefeated
it,
as well. And then I had Barcelona because they still eked out a victory.
Mm-hmm.
And then 10th, I had Napoli. Even though they lost to Lazio,
Mm-hmm.
and the back line looks a little weak, the attack always looks aggressive. That midfield, they still have that 3-man midfield that won them that title last year. They still have Lobotka, Zelensky, and Zambo Anguissa. And as long as they'll eventually find that they're not in that same form that they were last season, but they're still getting some good results. You know what I mean? So I do think that it'll take some time to get them revving up again, but they didn't lose that much if you really think about it. They lost a big defense, they lost Kim Min-jae. That midfield's still there.
Yeah.
And you still have Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia up top. So I do expect them to still make a good run for Serie A, and I expect them to really put a lot into the Champions League this season.
Yeah. And I would say this, just passing by, the best goal for me this week was Calabria cross to Leal, Roma versus Milan, and Roma, Leal, he did sort of like a bicycle kick, but not really a bicycle kick. He was kind of going down, and he just either that. I think Romero's goal. The goal. He plays for Tottenham. That shot, I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah,
The goalkeeper just looked at it and took pictures.
Yep. Yeah. I liked Dominic Szoboszlai's goal. For Liverpool. That, and it's mostly just the angle of the camera, like in the trajectory. It's all about perception, visual perception. The angle of the camera and the angle of the ball. Made it look like the ball was in the air for like 80 years. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like when you get that one shot where it just looks like it's a rocket ship taking off into space. It was just very cool to see. And from a midfielder like that, he looks fantastic, really fast. We didn't talk about Liverpool today. Dominic Szoboszlai looks absolutely incredible. I think he'll end up being one of the top 5 signings of the season, without a doubt.
Next week is international breaks. I think all the teams or national teams are going to be playing. Actually, I think Ghana is playing. When is Ghana playing the U.S.? That is...
I don't have that handy.
Yeah, I think they're playing the U.S., but I don't know if they're playing in this international break, but I know they are playing the U.S. Most countries are going to be playing next week. I think 2 weeks or just next week. And after that, next week, I think we'll be diving deep into the MLS, just trying to understand, dissect, and I don't know when the playoff starts, but it is coming.
They've got
October.
I think they've got 6 games left, 7 games left in the regular season, and this is the last week that we are only talking about domestic league football.
Yes.
In 2 weeks from now, we will start having on Champions League weeks. We will have 2 episodes.
Yes.
We have the regular domestic leagues on Mondays as usual. This is an exception because of the Labor Day holiday.
Yeah.
But then on Thursdays we will be releasing. On Thursdays we'll be recording, so we will then release on Friday.
Yeah.
Our Champions League observations. So we will have more content for you guys. Hopefully you enjoy that. Also, you can email us at topcornerpodcast23@gmail for observations. Concerns, if you're that concerned.
Yeah.
But just some feedback is always great. Be sure to like, share, subscribe this video, and you should follow us on Spotify and give us that much sought after, almost mythical 5-star review. I think
all the links will be on the
they will all be in the description below.
Yeah.
We do have the social media platforms up. I'm not a social media man, but we do have someone on the team that is, so we will have that going for you as well.
All our Instagram, I think right now Instagram, then we'll get Twitter and probably other stuff, but right now you can go subscribe or follow us on Instagram and share anything you want to share or whatever, DM, message, whatever. And we had a good show for you. See you guys next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.